Hey guys, Ryan from Spyker Workshop, and today I'm going to be showing you how to assemble the support ribs for the 1/6 Sherman that I'm working on. It's an upgrade to strengthen the hull, and I thought I'd show you the printer that's printing these parts. This is a Mod X printer. It's a 24-inch cubed volume. This thing's just massive. It's actually taller than I am. I'm standing with the camera at eye level right now. It's hard to grasp just how giant this machine actually is. There's something else that I printed in the past. This was for a organizer parts drawer, and this is a printed part here. You can see it's just, this thing can just do some huge stuff. And it's printing one of the support ribs for the Sherman. I'm using a 1.2 millimeter nozzle. And you can see it just sucks the plastic in. It goes through it pretty quickly. So here is some of the kit, and these two ribs are structural reinforcement for the hull. All my prints are printed solid ABS. I don't do infill, so these things are solid as are, completely solid all the way through. And yeah, you'll also get some hardware for it, and there's a couple other pieces that you'll see towards the end of the video. There's a battery tray and a few other things. So to start assembling them, the first thing that you'll need is a 1/8 inch drill bit, and then the suspension unit has 4 holes that are already cast into these parts. You'll want to take those 4 holes and line up the suspension unit on each piece, and drill all these through the hull here. I already did this earlier, but it just goes pretty simple. And what that does is, on these parts, those holes will be screwing up underneath into the plastic here. It adds a lot of strength to these parts for when you do turns and stuff like this. And then next thing, switch to the 3/32. It's a smaller one, and these 4 holes on each side will all be drilled through with this smaller bit. I also already drilled these. And then all the rest of the larger screws here, there's the 2 here and 2 over here, all these will use the 1/8 inch drill bit, and they go all the way through. All those I already drilled, but you can see them there. So next, we're going to flip the whole hull over, and you'll need some tape and a tape measure for this part. And one thing that's challenging about getting because to mount these in there, we have to drill some extra holes through the hull. But it's difficult because this thing's so flimsy, and we need to make sure that these stay lined up with the holes in the upper hull. So the way to do that is, I got a measurement for you. I'm going to go ahead and put a piece of tape loosely on the other side of the hull like that. And then don't tape it down here, just lay it there loosely for now. And then I'm also going to go ahead and tape the tape measure over there just to make it easier. Make sure it's tight on that side. And then let me zoom in so you can see this here. So the measurement that we want is 17 3/16. It might be difficult to do. Since I taped the tape to the other end, it's a little easier. But 3/16 is right in between 1/4 and 3/8. And then just put the tape down like that. So it should be that line right there. So now that we have that taped, also I'm going to just be showing you how to do one of these brackets. But when you do the other one, I would recommend redoing that same measurement over here, because the hull might be a little bit off on this side. But this should be pretty close to lining up on the top. So now, also I should make note that the rear of the tank is back here, and you can see that each of these parts has like these feet. You want them to face each other like this. You don't want them facing, that way. You want both of them facing each other, because later in the video we're going to put, it's like a battery tray that spans between these and uses those screw holes. First we'll use these 1-inch long screws. The kit that you have will be sheet metal screws, but I'm using machine screws just because I don't have those in the mail yet. And they'll be going up from underneath those holes that we drilled up into the bottom here. And then also the suspension unit will go on here first. It's kind of hard to show all on camera. I'm going to do it off camera quick, but yeah, you line up each one of these 4 holes with the yellow part on the inside. So I screwed all 8 of those screws in, 4 on each side. And one thing to note is, depending on how heavy your tank will be, you might want to glue these into the hull up on top, because my kit doesn't offer anything else up here. I find just the lower support right here is enough for it, but if you glued these, it would be even stronger. I'm going to be gluing them into mine, but yeah, you can see the 4 here, and now we have to drill out the 3 locating holes underneath this part. And the way that we do that is there's 3 holes down the middle. Ignore the other holes. We're going to use a 1/8 inch drill and just go and drill right through the hull. And then we're going to do the same thing to these 4, but I'm just going to check one more time for that measurement to make sure it's still on. 17 3/16, which it still is pretty close. You don't have to be perfect, because we're going to actually drill these holes larger, not in the yellow, but in the hull. But 1/8 inch drill bit drilling through here. And then now I'm going to switch over to either a 9/64 or something larger. And then from the back side, all the holes that we just drilled, you want to drill just through the gray stuff. So go really slow and just enlarge the gray part out. Try not to get any of the yellow on the inside on it. And then, actually I'm just, let's see here. Yeah, you know what, we might have to remove the wheel back off to get these 2 holes drilled and screwed in. But before we take that off, we can go ahead and screw in the bottom 3 just to make sure that that yellow piece stays in the same spot. So we're going to use the number 6 by 3/4 inch sheet metal screws that are in the kit and screw them all up in through here. And you don't need to go very tight, just until it starts bottoming out. I use these screws in all my snowblower parts, and they work really well, as long as you don't over tighten them. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove both the bogies again. It might have been better to just screw in the screws to hold the yellow piece in place before actually putting the wheels on. So after you remove the wheels again, it's kind of a tedious process of putting stuff back together and taking it apart, just to get all these holes drilled and aligned that we need to here. So these holes that we drilled through the top here, it helps if you actually, you can flex this a little bit. If you flex it out of the way of these holes, and then use that 9/64 drill, and we're just enlarging the holes in the gray plastic, not the yellow. And then after we do that, using the same kind of screws we did on the bottom, we can put 2 screws up here. So these screws you could leave loose if you want until you actually get the upper hull put on. You could also drill them out larger, just so you have a little bit of play to get these holes to line up with the upper hull. It's something you're just going to have to play around with until it fits right. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side now. So here I have everything all screwed in, both of the ends and then the 3 on the bottom. I'm leaving the bogie wheels off for now. We really needed to put them on just to start lining up for all the holes that we had to drill. If you watched the video before you started this, you might want to just put in like 2 screws instead of installing the whole bogie wheel, just to line that part up. I'm going to leave them off until I actually get farther in the build. But you can see the strength that it adds to the whole hull. It's like just rock solid on here, same with side to side. And the actual like downward force, like if you push down on the upper hull, it would flex before, but now that these are braced out here, there's just a lot less flex, and it strengthens up everything really good. So you can do the exact same thing with the rear one. Make sure that the feet face inwards like this, and yeah, for right now the third one will be integrated with the motors for my setup, but I'll also have an option to just include a third one of these in case you're using a different drivetrain setup. And then depending on what is actually up here, you could always cut this up. Like you could cut out some ribs that are in the way of your motors or something. Because even just if you took this middle bar out and all this out and just had this, it would still be really strong. It would still strengthen up the corners of the hull right here. But there'll be an option to change that on my website once I get this for sale. So next thing is installing the actual battery tray. So your kit also comes with this battery tray, and this is kind of like a general purpose kind of make it your own type of thing. I added these slots here, so you could use like Velcro. You could put Velcro loops around here depending on how big your battery is. But this actually spans the gap between these 2 pieces. And we need to drill out the 4 holes here to mount it using a 9/64 drill. Maybe these don't even need it. I think actually printed slightly oversized. But then they will use the same screws that were used up on all the other beams and to screw it down. So there I have it screwed in. And this basically spans the weight of the battery to be spread out across all 4 of these suspension units. It also sits off the bottom of the floor by like a 1/4 inch, so the actual tank's tray is not holding the weight of a battery up. Yeah, I think that covers the whole structural upgrade. The 3rd beam that'll be in the front will be either the same, you'll order one of these exact same ones, or if you order my transmission kit, it will come with a special one of these brackets. But the assembly to get it in the hull is the exact same as what I went over here. So just to show you how much weight this thing can actually handle, people who think printed parts are weak, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, this is like super strong stuff. If I stand on the underside of it, I mean, this thing, and that's only got 2 ribs in it. You could probably put, you know, any RC system would work in this thing, I would think. So one last thing before I end it, I just want to show you some comparisons. Here's a 12-volt battery here, like the 7 amp hour ones. Just size comparison. You could easily stack, like, I don't know what configuration you guys run your thing for electronics wise, but I'd assume like 12 volts. You could probably stack 2 of these up here, or maybe I'll adjust these spaces actually to be a little bit more in. But I personally, I'm probably going to be running LiPos that I have, or actually not these ones, these are 7.2. These ones, I mean, these are 3-cell, so it'd be 12 volts. And like these I could easily strap down in here. Yeah, I'm not sure. Leave a comment down below if you're already running 1/6 scale tanks. What kind of batteries do you guys use? Do you use like giant car batteries in these things, or cells similar to this? Yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything then. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and let me know what y'all think in the comments. So, see you later.